Coming up next on Access Framingham TV is a special episode of Framingham Fan2Fan, highlighting the variety of live football right here in the Framingham area. Yes, we have the Patriots and Framingham High School, but Virginia, there's much more. So stay tuned as we explore Framingham State University, Keefe Technical School, and the Mass Warriors semi-pro teams, with a few fan-to-fan highlights from episodes about these local football programs. Don't pass this up. It will run fast and touchdown. Hi, I'm Dave Hornfischer, and I'm excited to welcome you to another Best of Framingham Fan2Fan. In this episode, we profile football programs at Framingham State University, Keefe Tech, and the Mass Warriors semi-pro team, with a few fan-to-fan highlights from past episodes about these local football programs. Yes, I too am a lover of the Brady and Belichick boys team that fills Foxborough Stadium with Super Bowl trophies and banners. But as a sports fan, I'm also enthusiastic about the excitement generated by football players of all ages, experience, and skills right here in the Framingham area. Let's start with Framingham State University. The Black and Gold Rams, who play their games on Saturday afternoon at beautiful Bowditch Field, have become a New England football Division III powerhouse. You know, since 2012, the FSU Rams have won 64 of 78 games. That's an 82% success rate. Most seasons, they even qualify for year-end NCAA playoff games. Their success starts with athletic director and head football coach Tom Kelly. We spoke with Tom in 2017. Here are some excerpts from that show. Our guest today is a real Framingham guy, Tom Kelly, athletic director and head football coach at Framingham State University. And he has a unique dual role he's actually held since 2007. His 13 sports that he manages and his football team has gone on New England Patriots like 46-10 over the last 5 years. Tom, you're the Bill Belichick of Framingham, and it's great to have you on the show.
Thanks, Dave.
Talk a little bit about how you got here. I was amazed when you told me that there was never football at Framingham State until 1972. When you think of the Williamses and the Amhersts and the Harvards, they've been playing since John Harvard, I guess, started the school. But
well, Framingham State was predominantly a women's school right through the 60s. And in 1972, they opened up their first male dorm. And they had started soccer and baseball and basketball a year or two before that. So Steve Ryder, who's a famous baseball player out of Framingham, was the athletic director at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And him and Denny Golden was the vice president of student services. They thought it was a good idea that they might start football because they needed to recruit more male students, period. So not only I was on the first football team, we were the first residents on campus, male residents on campus.
Really? Wow. Okay. You were sort of like all these number of these women's schools, and where they have the same issue, the Vassars and so forth.
So we came down and we had some success early. We only played 5 games that first season. We were 5-0, and we played Bentley, St. Michael's, really
club teams.
And I always tell the Bentley coach that we're not playing them again because we're 1-0 against them, and I don't want to lose that 100% winning percentage.
And I know it was a bit of a winding road, but then you got back to being the head football coach under President Flanagan.
I believe he came in 2006, and the first question he asked me was, with this facility in this school, how come we don't have more football wins? And I certainly had a lot of answers, but I wasn't going to tell him at that time. And then he did some research, found out that I had coached, and my name got thrown on the table, and we negotiated, and here I am, and here I be.
Well, I think we'll probably do a full show in the future about the football team, because the football team has been a huge success, as I mentioned. 46-10 over 5 years. That's the equivalent of what, 9-2 a year almost. And, and I know you've been in some playoff games.
Yeah, we've been to the postseason 7 years in a row.
Wow. Yeah.
Either the NCAA tournament or a bowl game.
And I know as a fan myself, I've enjoyed coming down to see your games, which are at Bowditch Field. And I'm not sure how many people on AFTV even know that your games are there. And the crowds are good. The games are exciting. There's a lot of student enthusiasm. You've got cheerleaders. You've got the whole. Got the whole program, and it's but the problem is it's so expensive. It cost me $1 to go. I mean, and you offered me a discount plan.
Dave, I'll get you a season pass.
Well, I didn't need the free pass to want to see the exciting FSU football action. Coach Kelly would be the first to attribute the Rams' success to his bevy of assistant coaches and the players who've been recruited and developed here. Let's hear from assistant coach and offensive coordinator Ainsley Rosenbaum and 2 players from his 2018 team, Framingham's Darian Belazar and Jaquan Harris. Welcome, and it's great to have you guys here.
Thanks for having us.
A quick handshake and a wave.
Appreciate you.
And a high five or whatever. But let's begin by letting each of you tell a little bit about yourself, how one gets, first of all, to become an offensive coordinator.
I grew up in Somerville, came to Framingham State to get a teaching degree and play football. And when I finished up, I went back into the workforce and started coaching football after teaching. And when I went back to get my master's, I ran into Coach Kelly at Framingham State in the bookstore. And he recruited me on to coach the offense at Framingham State.
What a great coming together. And Darian, you're from Framingham, so you probably knew a little bit about this place growing up.
Yeah, actually, I've known Coach Kelly since, I want to say, ninth grade.
Really?
And that's just because, again, I've gone to their games when I was in high school and all of that stuff. So when I came back up from North Carolina, it was a special opportunity for me to play for him and Coach Baum.
And Jaquan, how does a guy from Boston find his way all the way out to the Wild West of Framingham? And tell me a little bit about your background. Did you play football in high school?
Yep, I played football in high school. So I was born and raised in Boston, and I went to high school at Quincy High. Played football and basketball and track all 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to come to Framingham because it was a good location. Wasn't too far from home. It's about 35-minute drive. And I mean, it was good people here. I came here with good people, winning program.
Great.
Everything just fit.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the game moments. Okay, this is it's a pass play. No, that's on defense, right? There you
that's
go.
Defense.
That's I believe that's you, right? Number 1.
Yeah, that's me.
Tell me a little bit about you. Do you remember that play?
Yeah, I remember.
So tell me about the good breakup and.
I mean, first of all, it was good pressure from our defensive line.
This was against Westfield State.
Yep, against
It
Westfield State.
was late in the game, as I remember.
Yep, late in the game. I probably want to say third or fourth quarter, closing minutes, and the quarterback felt pressure. He threw it up. Our cornerback Kenny Bartolo, he tipped it, and then another player tipped it on there, and then I caught at the last moment. Had 2 feet in bounds, but the referee said I was.
That's what all the signaling was about. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I understand, Coach, that Jaquan had a big moment in an earlier game this year. You want to talk about that?
First off, Framingham State is highlighted by an amazing defense. I've been here for 10 years. It's one of the best defenses we've ever had. And a huge part of that defense, and I loved how Jaquan brought his defensive line in there because they do put a lot of pressure on quarterbacks in this league. But JQ has elite speed, certainly for Division III and certainly in the MASCAC, and we hold him back there and we let him sort of patrol the field a little bit, and when a ball goes up in the air, he's a sideline to sideline guy. So when I look at a clip like that and I see him on the far hash reading the QB's eyes, even though the corner is man to man on the receiver, you see JQ come in from the other side and make a tip interception, and it's pretty regular for him. In the game you're referring to against Fitchburg State, he had 5 interceptions in one game, which is it's a Division III record.
None of your pass receivers caught that many.
It's tied. Right? It's tied. But what an amazing number and what an amazing night for him.
Mm-hmm. And he won an award for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's great. And as a defensive lineman, do you recall that play? Or you got credit for some pressure on the quarterback. And
I don't believe I was in that play because we do a lot of rotation on the D line. Okay. That's why we're always fresh, and our defense is how we are. But yeah, that JQ and the secondary, they're never selfish. They always call us out like, yeah, that was all you guys. Thank you for that. And that's what makes us a great defense, because we all just do our job. Bill Belichick's motto: just do your job.
You have a wonderful cheerleading team and a dance team, and have this great tradition of the cheerleaders doing backflips. One game when you guys scored 50 points, you were really wearing these poor girls out.
We've got a great relationship with them, and they love they love coming to the games. Yeah. It's interesting because I think a lot of cheerleaders would rather do their own competitions, and that's where the excitement is. But they love coming to our games, and they love doing their backflips. I think that they would tell you that they love when we score a lot of points because they want to show off how many backflips they can do.
Well, this is a college, and it's a D3 program, and one of the big differences I think that D3 sports gets from Division I sports is that there's really more of an academic focus as to why you all are actually at Framingham State. And maybe we can have each of the players tell a little bit about your academic program. You were telling me a little bit about that before, and what some of your goals are for studying here, and maybe after being a student here.
Yeah.
Darian?
Like you said, there's a big difference between D3 and D1. None of us are on scholarship. We're here because we love to play the game. We're at Framingham State because we want to win. And when it comes to academics, for me, that's really important, because that's the only way I could play football. If you have a 1.7 GPA, you can't play football,
right.
And you're not going to get a job after you graduate. So, academics at Framingham State is actually very, very good compared to the school that I went to before in North Carolina. There's just more opportunities. The classes are smaller, so the professors know every student. Office hours are flexible. And, being a football player, the professors also are flexible with those hours as well. So, it's just Framingham State's a very good academic school, especially if you want to be a teacher, a police officer, things of that nature.
And you told me you're a criminology
major. Yeah, I'm
a
crim major. I want to be a probation officer or a private security. Mm-hmm. So.
And Jaquan, you're a senior here now, so this is getting to be real for you then. You're telling me about an internship you had, and talk a little bit about your academic experience here.
In this fall semester, I'm taking 3 classes now: cost accounting, meteorology, and general stats. Okay. Now, this is my last fall semester here at Framingham State. I have one more class in the spring, and then I can graduate. I'm into the real world, I guess. If that's what you
so have you been here 5 years then, or 4? Is this your 4th year?
Well, this will be my, I guess, 5th year in terms of classes.
Okay.
Obviously my 4th year in terms of football. But one thing that I do like about Framingham State in terms of academics is the class size. How you can generate a personal relationship between the teacher and student, and it's pretty good. Just you can office hours, you can see your teacher whenever, flexible hours and whatnot. All the teachers I've had at Framingham State been good.
Well, what do you think are some of the keys to success that you've all had at Framingham State?
All of my success has to do with the players, because you cannot win games without good players that buy into what you do and believe in what you do. These guys will tell you that if you come to a Framingham State practice, you might see a fight, you might see guys yelling at each other, and you see people working hard and compete with each other, but at the end of the day, we really do treat each other like family.
Another local football team is the regional Keefe Tech Broncos, who play their games mostly on Friday nights at FSU's Maple Street Field. Head coach Harry Lesage took over what had been a dual partnership with Marion High School before the Catholic school closed in 2018. Let's hear from Harry. Harry, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Why don't you start out by telling me and our audience about your background prior to becoming this coach. What does it take?
This is my third year as a head coach at Keefe Tech. First year just Keefe Tech. The previous two was Marion Keefe Tech. Before the head coach, I was a defensive coordinator at Marion Keefe Tech when the co-op started. And before that, I was a defensive coordinator at Air Shirley High School. And then before that, I played at Framingham State College for 3 years.
What position did you play?
All over the place.
All over the place. Okay.
I played.
That's probably a good background for Keefe Tech.
It definitely has helped. I played fullback, running back, tight end, receiver, nose guard, D end. So I moved around. Which
did you ever score a winning touchdown?
Not in college.
In high school?
In high school, yeah. Not last second, but
you have a memory of one of those things you're going to tell your family, right?
Absolutely.
And so let's just talk about the football program at Keefe. You had this co-op relationship with Marion, and then when Marion's now out of business, you lost
about a third. Yeah.
A third of your team. Okay.
Yeah. When we started the co-op 5 years ago, I was the defensive coordinator. We had about 55, 60 kids around there. And over the years, the numbers went down a little bit. Obviously, Marion closed down because they didn't have any numbers anymore, which, affects the football program. Sure. Last year, we had about 35 to 40 kids and, quite a few starters. And then they closed. We lost about a third of our players. We really weren't sure what our numbers were going to be. But we ended up rallying, getting a good 27 kids right now.
I think we have a picture coming up of a sideline photo, which you'll get a pretty good idea of the size of the team here. You've got 11 on the field, and you got about 10 or 15 on the bench there. Yeah. So, you obviously have a lot of players who play two-way.
Pretty much every player plays both ways.
Okay.
We use the special teams, kickoff, kick return to kind of get the kids, especially freshmen, kids that aren't going to get much starting time there on the special teams. But I think we pretty much have 11 guys that play offense and defense.
I went to a game you play your games mostly over at Framingham State.
Yeah.
But you had a couple at Bowditch this year.
So we had one last week and we have one.
Almost all night games, Friday nights?
Yeah.
I have a picture of the crowd here, which impressed me. I thought that there was a lot of energy there in the crowd. Of course, the game was a win, and it was a rather chilly night. I only stayed for half.
It was pretty cold, yeah.
And you were ahead 28-0 at the half.
Yes,
so
it was nice. The parents have been amazing this year.
And pretty good school support. I was impressed by the cheerleading team. I think we've got a picture of the cheerleaders here. It looked like there were 7 or 8 of them, and the insurance company probably doesn't need to see this one, but that's 3, 4, 7, and they were. It added a lot of energy to it. You don't quite have the band yet.
No, we don't have the band.
Or a pep band even, or somebody with a big drum maybe.
No, maybe next year. The cheerleaders have done a good job of setting stuff up for the kids before the game. To run through the banner and stuff. It's nice having the cheerleaders getting the crowd ready and everything. So
yeah, it was. I just felt it was a real fun thing. So my fans out there in TV land, next year, keep your eye out on Friday nights for a Keefe game. I thank you so much for coming and sharing a great story on Keefe Tech football, and I think all Keefe Tech sports. And I think people out there in Framingham TV land and who are watching this should keep their eyes open for this and get over and see one of these games. It's a lot of fun. It's not going to cost you a fortune to get in.
No,
and it's a lot of fun. And buy a T-shirt and support your local vocational school and support vocational education in our community. It's something that's a great resource. Thank you. Finally, in this 3-part episode, we highlight the Mass Warriors, a semi-pro team who play their home games at Wayland High. We talked to their founder and head coach, Steve Maycock, along with 2 of his 2018 players, Billy McGinnis and Framingham's Angel Carrasquillo. Steve Maycock, welcome. It's great to have you. Steven is the owner, founder, and a player, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for joining us. Steven, why don't you start out and talk a little bit about how one gets to found a semi-pro football team?
Well, I started out as a player, and I just wanted to, kind of do things that I've seen on other teams that kind of have been done in the wrong way, and I thought one day that I can run a program that gives everyone a good opportunity to play a game they love and do everything the right way to the best of my ability. And one day I just decided I wanted to give it a try, and it was a lot of learning on the fly, but we've done very well for ourselves. We have a great group of guys, and we've just gotten better and better every year, and it's not only record-wise, but the quality of people that are coming in and the athletes that come through. They're very high character guys, and so it's a really good atmosphere what we have going on.
So Billy, tell me a little bit about your football background and how you hooked up with the Warriors here.
I was playing for a team down in Connecticut. I'm from Worcester, so it's about 45 minutes either direction, and the team just wasn't run well.
So you've been playing football ever since you were about 4 years old, probably?
No, I played 2 years in high school.
Okay.
And I don't actually like football players for the most part. So I quit, and I actually ran track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know it doesn't look like it now, but
You probably weren't a high jumper.
no.
Okay. And Angel, tell me your story.
So I born and raised in Framingham, Mass. Played Pop Warner. Didn't start my first year, and played in middle school ball at Fuller Middle School, and also played at Keefe Tech all 4 years there. I played 3 years, 2 years with the Metro West Colonials, then went on to play for the Blackstone Valley Bruins, and then took a year off due to knee injury, and then met up with Steven here and started playing with the Warriors.
Cool. Steven, semi-pro football is kind of a big industry. It's a lot bigger than what I thought. There's several levels. Why don't you just talk a little bit about the structure of it here in Massachusetts, and then you can get to where the Warriors fit in this.
So there's two prominent leagues in New England area in Massachusetts, and the league that we play in is the New England Football League, and they have different tiers where they have, it's much like the baseball's farm system, where you have single A, double A, and triple A, where single A being the lowest, double the mid, and triple A the highest. And the biggest difference is, like, when you play single A, it's like a team that just came together and they want to start at the bottom and work their way up. Double A is like where you have the talent to be competitive, but you might not have the depth to really compete with the triple A level. Your starters might be as good, but your backups aren't as good, and and then AAA is like you're really intense, like your college level players, players that have played at high levels that have still have the love for the game and want to play.
Have you guys all played at these different levels in your semi-pro experience?
So yeah, my first year personally, when I played for the Metro West Colonials, we started off in AAA. We didn't do too well. It was my first year playing at that level, and it's really intense. I mean, these guys are really talented all around the league.
And your team has how many players?
We have, I want to say, roughly 42 players.
Wow, okay, so yeah, so that's offense, a lot of offense, defense, special teams,
Absolutely.
bench.
Yep.
And do some of the guys play both ways, like in high school?
We try really hard not to have that happen.
not-
That only happens like out of necessity if someone gets injured. But we try really hard to, make sure you're playing one side.
I think we have a few photos coming up of some of your players in action here. Maybe as they pop up on the screen, you can just kind of give a quick overview of what they are. Then we got
Sure.
a little video.
This is just a pre-game ritual, like getting together and making sure that we're get our minds right and we're focused and ready to go to battle. Just pre-snap, making sure we get our checks down.
Where does your
communication.
quarterback come from?
Our quarterback, he's actually from Georgetown, Mass. He currently lives there, and that's where he's from, I believe. His name's Joseph Esposito. He's really talented. He actually won league MVP last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he have a college background? Or?
I don't believe he played in college, but he did just play in arena football and won the championship with the
really?
Bobcats.
Oh.
So he's a pretty talented kid.
Okay. And what do we got next here? Here we go. These look like wide receivers.
Yeah, these are actually two new additions to the team this year. Giovanni is on the left with Guy. He's on the right. Giovanni, number 80, he is only 19 years old, and Guy is 20 years old. Great football players. You know, they're gonna cause a ruckus for years to come.
Mm-hmm. That's great. These look like some linemen.
That is Rick. He plays defensive end, and we have our outside linebacker number 45 and our middle linebacker number 37. Josh Lowe is number 37, and Camden Titus, he's number 45. We call him Rudy.
Rudy.
He's short like him,
Right,
but he plays hard.
Plays linebacker.
All hard.
He's-
Heart of a lion.
He
Okay.
is one of the most intelligent football players you'll meet.
Well, what's some? Okay, and here this looks like the running back.
He's a wide receiver.
Wide
That's
receiver, okay.
Ta Coleman. He's actually from Philly. Came to us 2 years ago. Great person, all about the team, wants to be successful. He's not a me player, and, he does whatever is necessary to win. This was our middle linebacker, Josh Lowe, coming in for the sack. That was against a team from Maine, Twin City Riot, I believe, is who we're playing this week. That is myself holding the extra point. That's Pat Caruso. He started out playing for the Marlboro Shamrocks. He played at Marlboro High School. He played at Assabet. He actually just got inducted into Assabet Hall of Fame 2 weeks
Really?
ago.
Yeah, and you were saying that he's a little older than Adam.
Yeah,
Terry.
I believe he's 53.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, kickers go on forever.
Yeah, this is his 20th season.
That's great. So where do you play some of your games? Your home games are in Wayland, right?
Yeah, we play at Wayland High School.
Wayland High School, and you play on Saturday nights.
Yep, usually 7. Every time we have a home game, it's at 7 p.m. at Wayland High.
And then your road games. Who else is in your league?
So we played against the Rhode Island Riptide. They play in Cranston, Rhode Island. Who else did we play this year? The New Haven Venom. Then there was New London County Nightmare. They change their name every year. I have no idea what to call them. And then the Worcester Wildcats. They're pretty local. It's almost like a home game being so close. And there's teams all over. There's teams in Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Boston, like all throughout Massachusetts, the South Shore, North Shore.
You hear about the Patriots and Belichick saying, "Do your job." Do the Warriors have kind of a mantra that you kind of all say when you're in that pregame huddle?
I don't know. That's the Angels category.
I guess it's show up. Show up.
Okay.
Show up mentally, physically, and spiritually. Because some people just show up just physically, and they don't really show up mentally. In football, you have to have all beings with you.
Oh, that's a good thought. I like that. So why did you pass that question off to him? Is he the team?
He's our
philosopher?
hype guy.
Hype guy? Okay, every team has to have that. So do you have a message there, Billy, that's kind of guides you along, that you're yelling at your teammates?
Yeah, to start the season, it was phase 1, phase 2. As we went through the games, it's just taking it one day at a time and one play at a time, and executing to the best of our abilities.
That's good stuff. Oh, and I just have one last question. The Mass Warriors. Why the name Warriors? Is there a military connection to that?
So, short funny story is just like the head coach. He was in the military, and when we started the team, we had a lot of veterans, and so I was thinking to myself, and I said to him, I was like, I'd like to do something that would pay homage to our military, and he was like, I was thinking something along the Warriors. He's like, well, when you think Warriors, you think like just Spartans and stuff like this, and he's like, well, I can't think of many people who wouldn't consider our military warriors.
Well, that's
so
great.
that absolutely could.
Well, that's a good way to end it. We're not wounded warriors. You're the winning warriors from playing in Wayland. We hope you've enjoyed this look at 3 aerial football programs. Better yet, check out their remaining games this season. They're affordable, you'll sit close to the action, and you may even well know some of the players or your fellow fans sitting next to you. You'll see exciting football action offered by committed athletes. I'm Dave Hornfischer, and you've been watching a Best of Framingham Fan2Fan, recorded at Access Framingham TV.